Sechere Central District, by the way, in Ashanti region, has set up a standing security team to intensify the fight against nomadic herdsmen. We talked about this a bit earlier. These herdsmen are believed to be moving into the area, and this follows reports of attacks on local farmers and destruction of farms by grazing cattle evicted from nearby Asante Achim North and Sechere Afram Plains district. Security agencies in the area will jointly pursue and drive the armed herdsmen and their animals away. They'll be complemented by personnel stationed at the 5 police posts to be sited strategically in communities prone to the menace. Ohime Nteria has been learning more. Now here's his report.
Sechere Central share boundaries with Asante Achim North and Sechere Afram Plains districts, where herdsmen clashed with native farmers for years. The police military team presence in a reviewed Operation Cowleg activity follows a JoyNews documentary, Violent Shepherds. Herdsmen evicted from Agogo have now pitched camps in the Sechere Central district, where residents of 157 communities are mostly farmers. Authorities visited Oku, Ngujua, Brim, Aframso and other communities which have been witnessing mass arrival of cattle. Dude Abed is the assemblyman for Oku electoral area.
The Fulanis and their herds issue in Oku community has been a headache, and it has started for just 2.5 years now. But as we are speaking now, if not the directives from the DISEC, we would have made a huge of Fulanis and their herds or the cattle in this community. But the issue is that we do have a series of complaints concerning their cattle destroying farm produce and other things. And at the point of Fulanis and the locals being fighting each other.
Within budgetary and personnel constraints, the Assembly has earmarked Brim, Esugwesu, Achia, Jeduako and Krui for siting of police posts. DSP Charles Etua is the Sechere Central District Police Commander.
Yes, this is going to be a sustainable operation. For DISEC, we have decided to engage in this operation, not once, it's going to be a continuous one. So sustainability is assured. So we give it to all the community members that we're going to continue with this operation. Wherever we find any nomadic Fulani, we will embark on operation to get rid of them.
District Chief Executive Kojo Banahene is confident the new arrangement, despite the cost, will give residents the peace of mind.
The cost of human life is worth than anything that you can consider. So that is what we're trying to do. Is making sure that human lives are not lost, just anyhow. So, but we are managing it in such a way that do not affect the activities of our districts, especially our smaller towns where they need pipe-borne waters and boreholes and other things. What we're doing will not affect them negatively.
From Nsuta for JoyNews, Ohime Nteria reporting.
Now, the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana is demanding stiffer punishment for nomadic herdsmen who allow their cattle to graze on farms, thereby destroying farm produce. Over the years, there have been a series of clashes between herdsmen and farmers across the country, leaving both farmers and Fulani dead on some occasions. Speaking to JoyNews, the president of the Association Victoria Adongo, said that it was about time the government, as a matter of urgency, formulated a robust law on ranching to quell clashes between nomadic herdsmen and farmers.
I think that this is the first time that an actual pastoral policy is going to the floor of Parliament. I have witnessed a lot of parliamentary debates on this cattle herdsmen and other things, and none of them have actually materialized into something concrete. So now that there is something very concrete coming out of this pastoral policy document, I think that Parliament should act fast on it and issue the bill and the president should give their assent to it as soon as possible. Also, because we want to save lives, we want to save a lot of things. We don't want to go through those conflicts again. And I think that with the law, everybody concerned, all stakeholders will know the limits within which they should act. Right. So government should prioritize it when the draft is presented to them. That is why we are actually passing it through the Cattle Ranching Advisory Committee that has been set up by the government and the minister, the sector minister. So with this, it will go to the sector minister as fast as possible, and it will be up to him to work hard to see that the bill is passed.
Right, let's explore this further. In the studio with me, Bismarck Owusu-Norte is a program officer for the Peasant Farmers Association. Also with us, Imama Hanfi Sunday is the chairman of the Ghana National Association of Cattle Farmers. Thank you both for your time.
Thank you very much.
This problem has gone on for so long, and I'm sure everybody has their explanation of the cause of it. But now we have to look for the solution. And we're hearing about this task force that is going to be set up with divisions opened up in various communities to basically drive these herdsmen away. Let me start with you. Is this a sustainable solution?
All right, thank you very much for having me. And I think, let me put this in proper perspective. I think normally for the media, I normally like to capture the new selling points. But generally, what we are looking at was to have a law that is guiding the activities of herdsmen and crop farmers to prevent all this conflict that we've been having over the past years. And if you can cast your mind back to all these temporary measures that we're putting in place, the Operation Cowley, the court order, and you realize that the conflicts are still recurring. So you realize that there's a way to put a permanent solution to this problem. So what we intend to do was that there was a need to come up with a policy, and that policy should lead to the drafting of a law, and that law should be the guiding principle to guide activities of the herdsmen and then the farmers to prevent all this conflict that we're talking about. So in the policy that we are proposing, or that we have drafted, we are looking at 14 intervention areas, and these intervention areas, each of them have specific strategies that we feel that when we are able to implement them, we are going to reduce this conflict that we have. Now, you raised the point about the tax law that we are setting. It's one of the intervention areas that we are proposing, but the idea is not to sack the farmers, the herders, because as you can recollect, this has been done over the period, and it hasn't been successful. Because, mind you, we have the herders, some living among us, so you can't say you are sacking them. And also from those coming from our neighboring countries too. There's an ECOWAS protocol on transhumance. So you have to be very careful about how it is done. The issue is that for those who come from the borders, if their acts contravenes the laws of the country, there needs to be sanctions. And that is where we feel that those should be applied to the latter.
Right.
In fact, the argument is that crime is crime. And if a herdsman commits a crime, you don't look at the fact that, oh, because there's a conflict, you have to let it go. But we have to attack the criminal aspect of what he or she has done. And that's the point we're looking at. Okay. But it's broader than just looking at just the tax laws. It's 14 areas. We are talking about awareness creation, sensitization, capacity building, corridors provision. All these are ways that holistic approach to ensure that we put a stop to this once and for all.
Imama, let me ask you this. I mean, why does this continue? Because to me, it should be simple. Destroying somebody's property is wrong. It's wrong in every country, in every language. So what's the difficulty? Why are we still seeing these things happening?
Thank you very much. And then we say good evening to our viewers. I think it is just too simple to just say it like that. But when you go into details of why cattle do stray to farms, you find out that as long as we are in the system of free range, then being able to prevent the cattle from going to farms 100% is very difficult. But as my colleague and brother just said, there should be some guidelines, there should be some rules and regulations as to, number one, what I'm saying here doesn't mean you have to drive your cattle to the farm. You must do as much as you could to prevent your cattle from going to stray into people's farms. But you see, as long as we are in the system of the same land for animals and same land for crops, the simple example is when you are in your house with your kids. You are in your house with your kids. Then you command them not to do A, B, C, D, which is wrong. But you find them doing it. They can even pick the glass and hit it on the ground and then scatter it. Because like they don't know what they are doing.
But it's still your responsibility as a parent.
It is your responsibility as a parent. You are mandated to stop them, but you can stop them. But there are other things that it is beyond what you can do. So what we are saying is that if there are laws, then those laws will be able to at least, first and foremost, stress that, look, each and everyone must know his or her limits. If this thing is done this way, this is what is going to be applied. You get what I'm saying?
So you're saying the reason why this happens is because there are no laws?
No, you know what I'm just saying is that the cattle, they go out for grazing in an open field.
Right.
People do follow them to the grazing. But the same place, we have these farms around the same place.
Right.
Sometimes I am a cattle breeder myself. I have several times during the time of, even now, I can take cattle to the bush. There is a time you take some of these cattle into the bush and some of them give birth there. It gives birth there in the bush. And that time, some of them become very wild that you cannot even bring that cow back home. You see? So that very cow, what you do is that leaving that cow, identifying where that cow is, and you are coming now back home to get some people to come and aid you and other things. So what we are saying is that accidentally, there is no how. We all drive, we know you don't have to do this, you don't have to, but sometimes you are driving and you go accident.
And when that happens, what should you do? Why should it turn into a conflict? Should it not be a matter of taking responsibility and resolving what you've damaged?
This is where the problem is. People are in two categories. We have some people who knows the law and does the right thing when they are not even forced to do. They know the right thing and do it. And there are other people who are not ready to do the right thing until they are forced to do the right thing.
So you agree that the police should simply clamp down on them?
So what we are saying is that if there are policies, because sometimes it is not only because most of the times I do say that because the cattle do move, but the crops at one place. So there's no how. The blame is more on we, the cattle farmers. Because if your cattle did not go out, it will not happen that way. But what we are saying, sometimes some of these things that goes beyond and then get to the extent of clashes and killings, sometimes if you investigate them critically, you find out that they are not up to that level. But due to communication, lack of understanding, lack of bylaws, the crop farmer going there, seeing that his farm has been destroyed, and all those things.
So help me understand this. So the current situation, is it that there is no law that says that if I have a farm here, I own this land, I've planted my cassava, and your cow comes to eat my cassava, that you have committed an offense? There's no law in our books that says that?
Well, if you look at our criminal offences code, Act 29, it lists a couple of infractions that are against the law that are criminal. It's exhaustive, but I'm not sure that it's a bit delved into what you're talking about.
Okay.
But I know that Section 300 talks about the fact that if you allow your cattle to stray, if they are stray cattle, the district assembly can propose bylaws to clamp down on those stray cattle and then use add any sanctions that they wish. But the challenge is, if even you are looking at stray animals or stray cattle, what do you mean by stray cattle? Is it the case that when cattle are crossing the street, they are stray? Or is it the case that when someone is guiding them back to a prohibited place, they are stray? So there's a way to define it.
Right.
So it becomes clear exactly on what you want to achieve.
All right. I've got to say thank you to both of you. I'm told our time is up, but this has been enlightening. We appreciate both of your time very much. And we hope that actually we can find our way towards a solution on this. Enough of the conflict and the disagreements. Let's find out how to get along.
We think if there are good bylaws.
That's the way forward.
Okay. Thank you both. Thank you both very much.